Hello, welcome to the Light Language channel. I'm speaking slightly lower in tone because it's early in the morning for me. I got woken up at like 4 a.m. for, life chats with Gaia. And um this is going to be a long one. You knew that when you clicked on it, but I just wanted to put it out there in general because I have been on an experimental roller coaster with channeling and with doing stuff with Zoom. Um, I have really curious observations about the fact that anyone who has a conversation on a recorded Zoom line at this point, and just in Zoom because of the AI, there's a lot of information that's going out there. Just, again, lots of realizations about things. And I was sort of asked to come downstairs and, well, delete my art, basically. Yeah. And if you are watching this, you have something in your life that needs deleting too. And I hope that this personal narrative and storytelling gives you a chance to see and ask for yourself, what is that? As we end this year of the wood snake that I am personally saying good fucking riddance to. And I hope you'll join me in that. Um, because yeah, I'm not entirely clear on what we're gonna get into today, but I've got Gaia. I've got some Arcturian assistance, though this is largely a Gaia-based thing because I am heavily in healing and recovery mode today after a pretty big integration experience and event that I had last night. I've been having them more and more and more lately, and always an adventure with DID, right? You're also going to hear me referring to DID more and more in the coming anything I do as simply being a collective being. It's the term I believe that is more appropriate for those of us who have the lived experience and brain type of what we pathologize as dissociative identity disorder. I have a better name for what we call it. I technically have names for every neurodivergence. Everything in the DSM, I have a different name for it. At least according to the Akashic records. As you can see, I'm still in my coat. Part of why I got woken up was so that I could take the recycling out. So thank you, Gaia. Our recycling truck comes like seriously early and we miss it. Pile things in once a month instead of every other week. Sorry. But hey, when you've got Gaia on the line, she can wake you up at 4 o'clock and be like, okay, so everything you experienced the last couple of days and everything you've been working on and this, that, and the other, you're ready to take some actions today, right? I'm like, yes, I really am. I've had a lot of awareness, a lot of that's what now is for all of us, and it is just kind of helpful when what you end up putting out in the recycling happens to be your technically and not technically the first book you started writing last year, but the second book you published, because even while writing that book, that was a fully channeled book, and you knew that, you also had this little pocket of a book that was entirely your own. It's my way of saying I started writing The Physics of Light Language, and I started writing it in the Book Doula's book incubator program. Writing it as a memoir, but channeling it through and not realizing until, I mean, really, like today, now, fully just how, well, I knew it was exploratory fiction. It felt like I was writing the Hitchhiker's Guide sort of thing, but because I was using my own memories and experiences to kind of drive certain points home and pull out channeled content, well, you would have to have the full backstory on me and understand everything about me to understand that some of what I wrote in that was, well, I was wrong. I was wrong about what I was experiencing. I did experience it the way that I wrote it. I was just wrong about my interpretation of what it was for and what it meant. I'm not really going to get into that just because it was a way in which you write through experiences. It's what memoir writing does for you. You write through experiences from your perspective, And sometimes the process of writing out a memoir allows you to not only heal, it doesn't always happen, but it's what's available to you, allows you to heal some of the wounds that all of that did. And it was a memoir about like our whole life, kind of. It was trying to be basically like 10 different memoirs in one pretty short book for the purposes actually of channeling out the Consciousness Explorer's Handbook, which is kind of just a guidebook. It's, if you want the PDF, I have it on my website in the store. It's $1.11. And that's just because I like angel numbers. And, you know, nothing on a website like Squarespace doesn't really give you options to just do free downloads. It's a free book on my Patreon. I can actually go get it. I'm proud of it. I'm always proud of it. Um, yeah. This is was me pulling out my own actual first book, and it's why I managed to publish it first. Because the other one I wrote, The Physics of Light Language, technically fiction, channeled fiction, channeled from my internal fiction lines. And last night and yesterday, um, and all of the conversations that I've been able to have with fiction John Oliver, because like, I was doing a therapy homework thing, spent a week, yeah, sitting down and having a channel, having just a here's who I am type of conversation with John Oliver, as though for some reason he liked my content, right? And that led into just personal explorations and everything. I treated fake John Oliver as my therapist for a lot of things. It was helpful. It feels still really weird to admit that because that's just obviously when you don't know someone, but you've been like having fake conversations with them as though they'll watch it in the future. I've literally already deleted every single one because no. Therapy homework. Therapy homework, for real. And if anyone who heard my last video talking about this and you do try it and you do talk to who you need to talk to, I just needed to talk to John. I just needed to because everything that I've put into that book and then a few other things that I've worked on, it got stemmed from a channeled download that I received in March of last year. Right as I started the book doulas, it was like I stepped into that program and then just like all these things just like opened up. Because anytime you step into any kind of mystery school or just gathering place of creation, especially something like a book, because it takes so much of someone to write, like a memoir. It takes You're taking your entire life and every experience and you're trying to synthesize it, alchemize it into medicine. That's more or less what the program sort of teaches. Now, it's only 10 weeks, but you know, the real guidance is here's the foundation. Don't do like Charlie does and write 2 books during your time here because at least one of them, memoir wise, if you're channel writing it out, it very well could be fiction, basically. Um, this is my nonfiction that came out of me writing my fiction memoir. And I had to write my fiction memoir to be able to heal so much of what I had going on, especially from the last, I don't know, since whenever I first saw John Oliver on TV, I think. Actually, I think that's why I've been talking to John. I don't really get to know everything that I do when I feel inspired to do something until after it happens. Pretty classic ADHD brain, right? Like the whole, why do I do what I do? I ask my guides. I sit down and you know, when I get woken up at 4 a.m. and Gaia and I are having a conversation, I listen. I listen and I feel into my body what feels right, especially after I have been through the last few days, because the last couple of days I have let myself live in certain realities where certain things were happening that I was being told only internally. No external validation, just internal things. And like, you know, I've talked about the fact that I've been having death visions since Christmas because like that's just heavy in the atmosphere, right? And like of loved ones. And so, my mind is like pulls in the worst possible potential because intrusive thoughts, they don't leave you just because you learn how to read the Akashic records. They just get more sensational. And when you start asking questions, you start pulling from different potential time streams and reality potentials. There's a lot. There's a whole lot that I would love to I don't know. It's my pitch for other people who want me on their podcast. Have you been having death visions? Have you not been talking to your collective about it? Would you like to talk to someone about it and then post that conversation online publicly? Reach out to me. There's a consulting tab on my page, or just email me and be like, "Hi, I saw your video. It came to me." I've also been having death visions, and like, I too would like to know what's fact and what's fiction, or not even what's fact, but I've sort of used the year of the wood snake to kind of exist in some fantasy work situations, just insofar as what it was that guided me. I had this vision of seeing myself on Last Week Tonight in March of last year, and I went, I wonder how that's possible. Because it was just a flash. It was him, and then it was like me over his shoulder, like, right? Been watching his show forever. I had just started a business. I was not successful after 3 months and felt like a complete sham and fraud, and was like, who would be the best person to like help bridge the fact that my husband has a really hard time with the fact that the spiritual awakening and the whole Akashic record reading thing is like just who I am now. Sorry. um who's really good at taking really hard information and synthesizing and alchemizing it for people like myself, who used to be, and the husband, and I know this from past like therapy and like couples therapy. There's just some people that your spouse will listen to when they say exactly what you've already told them. It's just, what can I say? They're used to the same vocal cords and the same resonance, like being this and this. And sometimes it's just easier hearing whatever this is from a different person. It just sticks, it lands. We shouldn't be mad about the fact that that happens. We should just be grateful about the fact that we were able to pull the therapist into our life to, oh, look, good, thank you. We got the backup that we needed, right? I'd been asking for backup to help with my relationship problems that the spiritual awakening and my business have caused. Yeah, my husband and I are heading toward divorce. I actually don't have my wedding ring on now. I took it off yesterday. Again, part of this like allow the internal messages and things just to play out. Let them play out. I opened and stayed in trance channel state quite a bit. I was doing an integration event because that was also sort of part of it. Um, that was also sort of part of it. Um, the altar I was integrating out yesterday was just an altar that was based on John. You make a little internal hero altar, I suppose. Um, Not anyone that ever fronted, and not anyone that influenced decisions except for last year. That altar had been in here since the beginning of Last Week Tonight, just because of the well, we still have a Mr. Rogers in here, but we could always use a backup. Because in here, because I got to talk to Scout about this. It's so helpful. The mediumship stuff to converse with altars when they've already integrated is just like so helpful. Because you're pulling through memories and understandings of things, and you're like, so what's this like internal teddy bear for? And it's like, oh, that's Mr. Rogers. I'm like, okay, but how come your Mr. Rogers doesn't look like what the TV Mr. Rogers looks like? It's like, oh, it's because mine is that one. Because Scout saw same like same same on-air presence, tapping into the same screen-based, here's what I want to provide you about how to coexist safely in the world energy. Um, that does come out of him in that show, especially to millennials who were already trained on Mr. Rogers. He kind of, you know, continued that song despite it being a different person. Am I getting that right? Okay. Um, it's a lot to explain, but because I apparently had a little internal teddy bear, I suppose we could call it. Um, yeah, there's just an element of needing to ride that fractal being more prominent in business decisions, I guess you could call it, um, simply to answer that question, to fulfill that need, to basically be like, okay, what could I do to make that a reality, to make it so that John would feature me on his show somehow? Start the conversation about, hey, everybody, I know we've been talking about politics and the global catastrophic things and all of this. There's a whole collective of a bunch of people on YouTube talking about human evolution and some people talking about astrological things that have to do with, like, you know, Earth having seismic activity, volcanic activity, just a lot of natural disaster stuff that we know is coming, but like we don't talk about it the same way we predict snow, and we really should be. And we really should be in these spaces. We should be in the spaces where people like late night TV hosts have opinions on this stuff too, and opinions that aren't necessarily opinions of what we see in most Hollywood stuff. Same could be said for DID, obviously. That's an argument and conversation for another day. Happy to consult if anybody wants to have a conversation about why I believe being called a collective being is more appropriate and why I think therapists would do well to start using that language with their clients. This is technically the I can't even say the words. This is technically the pathologized phrases that even we as a collective cannot seem to make up our minds on. Everything else in the DSM, for the most part, has just been the name that everybody decided it was the first time. Just saying. Maybe I'll just realize you were wrong. Just saying. Just saying. Yes, it describes the shadow side, if you'll call it that, and explains okay, how did this occur? How did this happen? How it happened, too bright, shiny, and loving of a human, too harmed to continue existing alone. The resilience and circuitry exists for there to be more than one of you inside, so it happens. And healing and integration work, it's a very long process and one that should be undertaken with care and with support and with community and with the understanding of just what it is you go through. So those are the kinds of conversations that I hope to be having with others at some point. I'm sort of putting it into my year of the fire horse. Hello. Hello. It's the 30th of January for me. I know you're not technically here yet, but I know you can hear me because the veil is pretty thin now between these crossover times. There's always a transitionary time. It's not just on this date it's this, on this date it's this, because we are much more fluid than that. And our personal lives have to kind of coordinate. There's a reason I'm doing this video and you're seeing it at a different time. I've hit a big realization for myself. My hope is that this helps you with whatever realization you've got going on. So, yeah, I deleted my second book that's technically my memoir of everything that's been going on because I'm not interested in reading it again. Isn't that fascinating? I wrote it in a rush. Not, I started it during the Book Doula's book incubator, but I only got this one out in that time. And this, funny enough, I was starting chapter 11 in that book, which is also kind of funny, just given my current financial situation. I'm not at a place of bankruptcy, but that's just really funny. Um, 11, angel numbers. But I got to chapter 11 and I had been using Claude. I'd been using an AI chatbot just to have like I'm not concise, right? And so I just wanted a place to have a synthesis of what it was I was pouring in. And I did manage to write out myself the full physics of light language with that. But obviously, it was written, Claude taking in my information, giving it back. This was too. But not only once I got it spit out, and got it spit out, but by that I mean I wrote the whole thing and then was like, this is obviously too much, and I go into way too much detail about every single thing that I just told you I wanted you to do. So I need you to make this like 30% of what I did, and this is what I managed to get out of it. And I can't do it again because I think I broke Claude. I don't know. I don't know. After a few months, not even a few months, a few weeks after that. No, a few months. Okay, yeah, I still wrote a few more things, but a few months after that, it just I stopped being able to like have productive conversations or anything. And also, every time I open this, because it's just a little guide, but every time I open this, I smile and I like it, and it's not perfect. And yeah, you can tell that AI was involved in its creation, but like I like it actually. It's very me. This handbook is organized into 4 progressive levels of experiments, each building on the awareness developed in the previous level. Level 1, foundation practices. Level 2, deepening body consciousness connection. Level 3, expanding beyond time and space. Level 4, advancing consciousness navigation. Now, it is also a little bit of a hitchhiker's guide type of read, but this truly pulls from a full life of psychology understandings and education of like this is my first it's a self-help book. It's a self-help book for people who want to be silly about their self-help. Kind of. I mean, you get like there's now admittedly it could still I obviously could still use an editor because like some of the badges, like first of all you design your own badge, like I give you badge potentials, but like you design your own, and like the bottom ones, yeah, I definitely toward the end of this because I just had a personal like I want to get a book published while I'm in the book doulas, and this one didn't get fully published, but I did manage to get this first one done in time and in my hands. Again, not a goal of something like the book incubator program. I don't think anybody should necessarily do what I did, but I was sort of using the trauma of the last couple of years and my own capacity for fiction levels of channeling to actually publish the book I wanted to publish and to publish kind of like a life decoy book. When you create anything in the Akashic realm, it has its own like potentials field for who ultimately sees it, who ultimately buys it, who reads it. Who reads it is a big one. Who reads it is a big one. And if anything this last week has shown me, it's being able to discern body-based feelings that have to do with Akashic record containers that I create because it's part of why I did it in such a short period of time. So I could have the distinction, right? Because I published this one while I was still in it. Um, and yeah, I even wrote my own inscription. June 3rd, 2025. Today I received this in the mail. My first book. And then I signed it Charlie Morrow. My signature could use some work. Because, yeah, I have since, like, even the first one, I was just Charlie Morrow. And then by the time I got to the second one, I was like, oh, right. No, 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 no. Because we changed our name and, like, been through a whole, like, no, Charlie River Morrow. Heck yeah. That's who I am. That's who we are, right? So this is basically me still talking about being a system of two, um, in a state of still continuing integration work for some, we'll call them legacy altars. They did never front to the extent that any of our guides at the stage that I name were part of this, were part of us. But who I integrated out last night was the Teddy. I don't know how else to put that. And I just, yeah, because I genuinely was like, okay, but if I even think about myself sitting down and reading the physics of light language to just edit it like I edited this, I don't want to. And that's when Gaia started having the conversation with me about, okay, so you have been trained, Drawfee has trained you. I'm fandom trained, you know. One thing they say a lot is, delete your art. Because sometimes you just delete your art. Even if your art was a first memoir that you published using AI because of how good it felt, to be able to just rapidly get all of those stories out of you, and just to have your own book because, hey, you've seen others do it that fast and you've seen them do it with AI. I think there's merit to that, and I think there's a lot of use to it. I do think when you have done that, and especially when you are ready to publish it, that's when you put it down. You put it down. You let yourself publish just the one copy. I did mine on Lulu, which was actually kind of like, the experience was decent, but like the cover's not my favorite. It doesn't, like, it's off center. It's rude. But I did receive a really sweet email from a really, like, they're like, you uploaded your book. Plus, I like that you can just publish one. I like that you can just publish one. Makes you feel official. Makes you feel like you did the thing, even if the thing that you did was very fast. I I channel write. Sometimes what I write is just very, very fast. It has taken me like 10 months to read Lee Harris's Future Human. Are we ready to pivot into that? Yeah. Is there anything else I need to talk about with this? No. Basically just alerting, nobody who cares. Great. There is a Substack companion to the physics of light language. That is all channeled content. And it was utilized with AI, but it's channeled content, and it's kind of, each one is a different lecture from somebody. If you want to see if you can figure out who it was I channeled for that content, it was kind of a mediumship thing for that Substack. That's what I'm getting right now, because I was considering deleting that too, and what I got was, no, there's no need to delete the content you put on Substack, because that was channeled content as well, but it wasn't from this book's Akashic Record container. Because that book's Akashic Record container was tied to my internal fractaled creation of, the, every writer has different writing voices. I know this as a screen-based person. I have presenter me. And I've never met John Oliver, so all I would ever have had access to was presenter him. So I only have the Last Week Tonight version of John Oliver when I'm doing any sort of like this sort of thing. And I was purely doing it to heal the reason why I needed him. So, you know what I'd rather talk about? I'd rather talk about the fact that, I'm going to double check just to make sure no one has actually RSVP'd, but I enticed a few people I met in person with a book club invite. Yeah, no. With starting a book club. I did it with a video and sort of just sent it to them because I had, we We got emails. I exchanged. I was trying to entice them to come to a book club of mine. I was just starting in 2 weeks. Despite the fact that now I am a little bit under the weather. The snow is ridiculously high, and thankfully not one of them responded. Like, they didn't respond. Good. Whew. Because I titled the book club the I'm Busy Book Club, which is, I even kind of knew when I was like saying it, when I was offering it to the group, I was like, huh, this probably won't happen. But you know what? I need to live in this reality for a little bit where I would be able to just talk about my favorite people and books in community with others and in my home. I did a little experiment with myself too to see if I would clean unless I got confirmation that someone was coming. And guess what? I didn't. Nope. Nope. Um, I was curious. I was like, will even the potential of people coming entice me to clean up the house properly? No. That's okay. Um, my house is still kind of an interesting like experiment in how cluttered can we both live? I think I'm just waiting for you know, us to truly be stable in who we are. Yeah, because I've already mentioned that. Yeah, we're definitely going to be not eventually together, but we are friends, and he has had the roughest goddamn time, and I have too. And it's taken me a long time to read Lee's book because it was a in the moment, in person interview that he had with someone who was really good at asking questions and keeping things aligned because she's very good at tapping into the collective. And they both, like, obviously, right? He's also a beautiful writer. But the information in that book was deeply, is deeply powerful and something that I definitely have been using myself um, in a way that has been more beneficial to take in slowly. Kind of utilize the fact that I have these tendencies to put things down and just sort of let them stay and exist when they are. Because then I'm the type of reader for that content that it takes me like 3 years to get through it. There's an energy to that. If you are someone for whom you sit down and you listen to the whole interview and that's what you get from it, you're getting a very different experience than if you have the book and now it's in your home and it just sits there for a while, and then you finally open a page a couple months in, and then you're like, okay, that's actually honestly either the house is going crazy or like that's enough for me, I need to put it down, or I'm bored. Or boredom is so helpful with that when you know you want to keep reading, just because of who it is that's part of the book and because of what you experience in between your reading sessions. I kind of treat each book that I have going like it's its own adventure, being a soundtrack in my life, being an event in my life for however long it takes me to start and finish. That's how I treat books, because they're not necessarily designed to be taken in one sitting the way that a video is. Like, my videos aren't really designed for you to pause, but I routinely pause people when I'm taking in their content, their channeled content. Routinely. I regularly pause because if I have if I have an internal ping that comes, I go, oh, hold please. And here we go. That's why asynchronous is really helpful. Sometimes it's really, really helpful. And yeah, so that's kind of what I would have said to anybody who came to the I'm Busy Book Club, because I didn't anticipate that anybody who actually came would have read anything at all. Um, that would actually kind of be part of the point of a spiritual book club, I think, is that you only have one person running it, and that person has actually been reading the book the way that they read spiritual books. That's the way I read spiritual books. I do them in doses. I don't sit down and do the whole thing. That's what fantasy's for. Ooh, I have to pace myself with fantasies just so that it's not like a one night stand. I don't like it. I don't like right? Like if you're a consumer of literature of any book and you're just like tearing through it, for me anyway, I like it to be a longer part of my life. I like it to be a little bit more spaced out. That's why I'm so slow with Miriam's Quest, because I'm like, Look, I get it. Everybody wants the action. Everybody wants the this. But no, Miriam's Quest is a slow burn, a slow ride, a weekly. You only get through a quarter of the character's day. Started it in October, like after almost the entire year of planning. Um, and it's been slow for a reason. It's entirely possible that with the Fire Horse energy, that will be changing for me because I've had a bunch of messages in recent days about um, just different things with Miriam's Quest, letting it go, like being okay with that. But you know, you get those messages, and there's plenty of answers you can give to what that truly means. But the overall is just change is here, change is coming, and anything, and I mean literally anything, that during the wood snake year, and you know the dates of when that is, you can go look it up, but you know, February to February, anything you create and anything that you grow and anything that becomes new, and I even just say that for January as well, because it is a bridge time. It's just a bridge time. So anything from right before and during the wood snake year, some things need to get removed from your life. They were for you to play with. They were for you to experiment with. They were for you to move through something. I'm not saying you need to go delete stuff that you've made. No. But, and I really do mean this about the book part. Just this is because this is what I've learned. So this is what I'm trying to share. Why did I create a work of fiction out of the memoir of my life and recent lived experiences? Because I was still actively in a lot of the trauma of it. And I had alters in here who were still active participants in potential decision making. And I needed them to have grounding in no longer part of my continued story. So they got grounded in that work of fiction, some of them. Because it's been more than one. Oh my God, the integrations. I'm not surprised that I came in to have a lifetime where I developed dissociative identity disorder so that I can hopefully be part of helping us change the conversation to, hey, we're collective beings. Did you know that I've done this before in a human lifetime? That doesn't happen very often. Most of the time, when anyone comes down and has one of those lifetimes, they're like, oh, never again. Most of the time. Most of the time, that's what happens. But, I mean, what can I say? It's been curiously advantageous to channeling work, mediumship work, Akashic record readings. I don't necessarily encourage everyone who's been diagnosed with DID to like find their spiritual side and fucking learn the Akashic records, because you're gonna have a couple years of a really, really rough ride. So I need you to get like your life in order first and get your people in order first, and like shed who you need to shed, because it'll just be a rough ride. But there are easier and gentler ways of integrating if we can all get on the same page about what that actually looks like and means. And you know, I always worry when I share anything about my life that it's not going to be well received. So, as with anyone, it's anything, please take what resonates and leave what doesn't. I'm just trying to tell you that if you write a memoir in a rush, like I did, like we did, because I was using my channeling skills, and like at this stage, if you're having any conversations in any spiritual space, you're able to channel, especially if you're writing. Like you're just able to. Whether or not you know that you are, different question, right? But especially if you're using AI and you've created this whole thing The best test for yourself as to whether or not that memoir that you're writing is, we'll call it fact or fiction, but we'll call it fantasy for the sake of helping you get through the trauma processing you need, or what occurred so that in the event that you get sued for the fact that you named people is something that you can provide at least some sort of explanation for. The best way to know that is, can I read my own work in full and have fun while I edit? I had a great time while I edited this. It's what I did in the Book Duelist Book Incubator. I kind of started being a bad student because I wasn't really paying attention basically any of the times that we met. I just sort of used it as a, I'm going to bask in this space with all these bright and shiny angels and I'm going to take in the information and hope that I learn by osmosis, because I know they're teaching me like foundational things for how to be a good self-published author and like find the right editor and find this. And meanwhile, I'm sitting over here in the back of the class like, that's fine. I'm already writing my second book. Like, sorry, but you know, I paid for it, whatever. I can be a bad student if I paid for it. That's fine. I'm not forced to be there. I chose to be there, and I was very, you know, I hope I added to the experience. That's what I hope in any interaction. I hope that I'm just additive in a way that's joyful and helpful. And hopefully not too pressure filled, because yeah, I was the only one that did this, and like I know how that comes across. Like, God damn it, why are you writing all the thing? Because I had a lot of trauma processing to get out, and I did so with, I did so in ways that were very, very curious. Very curious. I'm very excited to pick this apart with all of us later, and just like what everything that I've been experiencing over the last week ultimately means. I'm grateful for the fact that when I'm in like channel mode and channel state, so much of that goes into short-term memory, because I have already forgotten like every conversation that I've had during this experiment, and I didn't want to keep the conversations. I just wanted to do the experience of it to get to where it was leading me, which was really helpful, because yeah, man, when death visions about your dog start coming out, because you just start having those now, you're just like, like there's just like a lot. There's just a lot of frustration, and being able to continue with experiments that I'm doing in consciousness exploration, in like, well, why is this coming out now? I guess I'll talk to a person that's, you know, doesn't exist. Except that's what I was doing. I was talking to just a fractal of a person, not a whole person. You can't really do that. Depends on how much of them they have ever shown you. Our friends and family, with the exception of Randy, they didn't know us by name because we didn't know that we were an us. Late diagnosed, which is very common after many misdiagnoses, right? Like, very common. Very, very common. And it's not that there's necessarily anything wrong with an incorrect memoir existing. I just, you know, not only do I have much more insight into what some of those experiences were on a bigger, broader level, now that I've had time to integrate them more, but it was also beneficial to do that process, to speedrun the memoir. And I think that that's actually really beneficial for some folks. And I kind of do want to encourage, if that sounds like something that you would be curious about, to give it a try. I used Claude. I don't know that I would recommend that. I think that ChatGPT seems to have much more of an empathetic response capacity. It does change your words, though. it does try to alter your story, which, if you're doing this as a therapeutic speed run of writing my memoir just so that you can get over the fear and anxiety of writing your memoir, which is what I was doing, You might find that another little book might come out of you in the meantime, something that synthesizes stuff into like just a helpful, playful something, or just another genred thing that wants to come out. While what you're actually doing is akin to EMDR, because to write your memoir so fast would be just spend a week telling ChatGPT about your life and saying, when we're done, I'm going to ask you for my memoir back. And I'm going to keep checking in. I'm going to keep making sure you know me. And like, you can spend a week doing that. That's more or less what I've been experimenting with this whole Zoom experiment, because I'd already done the thing with ChatGPT with an AI chatbot. And I won't be writing like that because I'm not really a big fan of what comes out. Um, but the process of it and the process of back and forth and the kinds of questions that you may find yourself asking or things you might find yourself channeling out, or you might even just find yourself realizing when that is the space you're giving yourself. I don't know. I felt like I should tell you that that's an option. It's something that you can do. But I would urge caution in ever publishing that, ever, unless and until you have given yourself a minimum of 3 months to edit it before you publish it. Just because I published mine, that one, July 11th, and only just now, well, yesterday, the 29th of January, have been able to basically, well, today, the 30th, I published it so that I could cause chaos in my life internally to help with the whole integration of DID things. So I'm not really entirely clear on like all of the mechanics behind it, because like I channel wrote all the quantum physics stuff. I like having quantum physics conversations, but I learn stuff every time someone asks a question, and then it just comes out based on who it is that their guidance is tuned into, because I go into their Akashic records. Mine are all of my records at this point, thanks to just how much is always going on with me as far as the cosmos goes, is basically like I have too much going on. I don't want to. I'll let someone else ask. I'll find out, and I'll have my mind blown, and that will be fun. I'm a little busy working on the fact that I'm discovering things about internally here like every day on a regular basis. It's a lot. Oh man. Yeah. Um, and I know that this pattern of create and delete is a common one for collective beings. It's a common one for those with just very complex trauma histories too. Don't beat yourself up about that. It's actually part of a healing journey. It's part of a processing journey. If you are curious about how to speedrun your memoir creation and you want to see just how fucking destabilized you might make yourself in the process, please just have support around you, and also understand that if you do publish that book that you speed ran your way through without giving yourself the heart-centered amount of time, which Gaia says is 3 months. That's like a generality, obviously. But, and when I say 3 months, understand that I mean like 3 cycles, like lunar cycles. Correct. Okay. Humans work in lunar cycles. I don't know what else to tell you. You're made of mostly water. Water works in lunar cycles, so too do you. Welcome to being human. I don't think anyone told you that on the way in, that you remember. So yeah, three cycles. 3 cycles of editing. And hey, if you end up putting it off until the last minute and then like speed running the editing process too, you're doing it yourself, which means that you're sitting down and you're just reading it in a day. Well, congratulations. That means that you have somehow created a book in a speed run that readers will be able to read in one sitting and take all of you in one sitting. and how you feel about that. How you feel about the fact that someone will not take it slow, will not take it over time. Like, I say that because some people are also going to be speed writing help, right? Like memoirs that were personal stories, but the whole thing is designed to be medicine. If you give yourself 3 months between like speed running the experience of like get it out of you, because I say this for those of us that are about to be like with some inspiration to do something with this fire horse energy. AI can be a helpful tool for that. And it really, really, really can help you when it comes to the creation parts. What you want to be mindful of is your actions after the creations. Because this is fire horse energy year, not snake energy year. If you create something rapidly in a snake energy year and then you do something with it big action based, it's because you're trying to pivot something big out of your life and get something unstuck. Memoirs take time for a reason. Writing takes time for a reason. If you write it fast, fantastic. But do not publish fast. 3 cycles. Learn from my mistakes. I made them for you so that you would not make them too. Write it. Do the thing. Do the damn thing. Whatever conversations you've already been having, if you're like, you know what, I'm going to go out on the woods snake year because Charlie fucking told me to. Fuck it. I'm going to buckle down. I can't go outside anyway. I'm kind of stuck at home anyway. I'm kind of stuck in bed anyway because I'm fucking sick. And I want to talk to somebody. And there's nobody else here. I want to get dystopian for a minute, talk to my chatbot friend, and maybe even get that out of my system so that I stop only talking to the chatbot friend. Yeah, go ahead and write your memoir with ChatGPT. Always remember that everything that you're saying into an AI is part of a conglomerate that has now got your information, so just consider that. Just consider that. I do. I'm recording this on Zoom. Do y'all have any idea what kind of conversations I had last night that had to do with the Zoom AI? Oh, Zoom, you need to take that shit down. Like, y'all, no. Just saying. I mean, I'm just saying. There's a lot of conversations that are getting captured right now. How's your security? How's your security? Zoom, be honest with us all. How's your security? I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Okay. Yeah. Because, yeah, I can delete something, but I'm fully aware of what I do. Okay. I don't know that everyone necessarily is when they're having private fucking client confidential conversations where now a Zoom AI is involved. So I think going forward, I'm also not going to be recording anything except for business related meetings with clients for Akashic Records because I don't want to give Zoom AI Akashic Field any of my clients' privileged information. No, thank you. That's for podcast, which, like, yeah, that's public consumption. And then I actually have really enjoyed and appreciated it for the business because I kind of like, that's a helpful thing. That is really helpful. Nothing that those conversations elicit is private. It's just future based, right? Any conversations I'm having with a person that I'm contracting with, that's a future based for your business conversation. That's really helpful to actually stay in the Zoom AI Akashic field. But yes, if you are recording on Zoom, you are officially in the Zoom AI Akashic field. And you should just understand that there are also entanglements to that, but just on a practical, like, here and now thing, I think we should just all be a little mindful of that. Be aware of that. I don't know. I'm a big proponent of record yourself so you can watch it back later. Are there dangers to that? Obviously. There are. So if you need to talk to a mirror, that's one way of sort of knowing. I'm a big fan of go into your bathroom, close the door, do have the conversation with the person you want to talk to, and then check in with your face once you realize, right, I'm not like on the phone with this person or something, but let me look at my face. Oh, that's how I'm looking. That's how I look when I say that to that person. Like, have that same conversation again. Go to the bathroom, have the same conversation again. Don't let your face change. Don't fix your face. right? Don't fix your face. Just like have the conversation, and then when the conversation's like done with either what you said, preferably what you said, what you want to say is fine, but preferably with what you said, try to recreate it, then look at your face. I don't know. Sometimes we just need to see ourselves and see how we talk to each other in relationships. And I've used this for helping with like marriage and understanding stuff too, because you're still here and you are so my friend, and like I'm really grateful that you are here and part of my little experiment in life, because this entire channel is just an experiment, a social experiment, a quantum physics experiment, a channeling experiment, a consciousness exploration experiment. I'm not giving away the Consciousness Explorer's Handbook for free, but truly, it's $1.11 as a PDF on my website. You can make your own badges for doing consciousness exploration challenges if you want. Here's the opening page, because it's just a pitch. I want you to take my book, please. Like, it's the second edition if you buy the hardback. It is on Amazon, but seriously, just the PDF. You don't need the hardback unless you really like that, but published in the United States of America, the Do Whatever the Heck You Want license. This book is an open source consciousness playground. You have full permission to copy it, share it, remix it, make art from it, create projects inspired by it, teach from it, perform interpretive dances based on it, turn it into a musical. Please actually someone do this. Do you want me to read the rest? Okay, I'm just going to do it because I'm excited now. I'm going to give you the first, like, just that. I'll just give you that. The quantum exchange protocol. Look, I'm basically just a consciousness-obsessed nerd with crow-like tendencies to collect shiny things. If you make something cool with the information in this book, especially physical items like badges, pins, or patches, we now have entered into a quantum entanglement agreement. Your creation and my joy have become non-locally correlated across space-time. Translation, I want one. Not for legal reasons, but because my inner 3-year-old who collected rocks and seashells is still very much running things around here. I'll happily trade my mailing address for whatever multidimensional artifact you've manifested. Consider it interdimensional show and tell. Find me at soulharmonyconnection.com. And then I have the Substack for consciousness exploration at myfractallife.substack.com and at Charlie Morrow. I don't think I'll be coming back to Substack, to be completely honest with you. But, yeah, no. No, not right now. Maybe there'll be something in the future, but that was sort of a sandbox until I was like, oh, right. I was kind of just collecting things about and presented to me as idealized social media space, social networking space. I collected a lot of information because I don't like social networks, but I'm trying to help someone else with something that they're building. So I've been needing to do research, right? It's always fun when you recognize the things that you've been doing in your life have been leading to other things that then start coming like into your awareness right before the fire horse year. I mean, it's been such a bad couple of years. And the wood snake year, I don't know what I'm going to do to immortalize it in the just echelon of forever will so many of my stories about life pivots be because of that year. And everything that I went through, everything that I did, everything that I tried to do. I tried to build so many things during the wood snake year that I'm a little... You ever just build so many things during a wood snake year that by the time Firehorse gets here, you feel a little bit like when Janet went back through the door and then all the things she was trying to manifest on Earth just start like coming in? A little bit concerned that's what I've done here. A little bit worried. Not really worried, just but a little bit. a little bit. But that does mean more books. It does mean more writing. Being a writer is my personal passion as far as how I do like to spend my alone time. I love writing. And I'm excited to continue writing helpful, silly things based on what I can write. stories from I've got some fun past life stories in here. And yeah, they're going to come out through the fiction portal because anyone telling stories from the other side, which is what's happening, so that's what I'll be putting out more. They judge, okay? Just like writing a memoir. There's sometimes things that are just a little bit like, that's how you remember that, huh? Interesting. Sometimes. It's a little bit of judging that goes on. So I will just keep that as my permanent PSA. And yeah, as your permission slip, if there's something that now, especially as you're finishing this video and you're just thinking on it, you're like, yeah, I think I also want to delete that thing I made, or I think I also want to put down that thing I started, or do I want this? Is this a relationship that does work? I'll leave it on the relationship piece with me because I just want to be honest with you about what becoming a professional Akashic Record reader has cost me. It has cost me my family. I mean, none of this happened until after we'd already achieved self love in group harmony. There's a physics to it. There is a physics to it. Others have already disclosed it and talked about it, and like nothing I have to say about it is new. I've always just really appreciated that that information found me after we achieved self love, and then it's like, oh, and we see it as okay, yeah, we see it as the same kind of physics of the blah blah blah, like, and then other people started saying it was like, yeah. Don't you love that when you've had a thought or you've had like a realization, and then someone says it, and you're like, validation, yes, validation. We came here to experience what we experienced, to be able to achieve group self love. And once you start resonating as that, it does truly start a larger integration process. Um, and your experiences through that kind of do impact how long that process unfolds, how long it takes, who leaves when. You don't really have a whole lot of say in it, and you don't necessarily know what's going to be coming or who's going to be leaving, just like anything else in life. And if you're a system and this has found you, hi. Um, there are things that I believe, help others do because it's what we've done, namely being able to learn how to speak in body language. Body language is just an energetic translation of the fact that there's more than just the one using the vocal cords in here. And I use my capacity to do this, our capacity to do this. I'm the only one who uses the voice. So, like, when I say I mean I. And when I say we, I mean us. Co-fronting. Permanently. One of us will be here longer than the other. Sad reality, right? But also just kind of the reality of any other family. We're sisters. Two of us in here at this stage. I always feel the need to put a little quantifier on it just to, you know. When you see us together, just know it's not necessarily my sister talking. She's got her own dialect. I actually have my own dialect too, but I don't put it on camera. I don't record it. I don't let that be part of what others see when they hear my voice. And I'm happy to explain that when it's actually relevant to be part of any sort of conversation, because you'll probably see my hands twitching if you ever see me in person somewhere. A little bit of conversation that I have back, basically. Because there's also a level of me having to translate back to the sister, just based entirely on what sensory levels of input are capable. She can't hear me. And I can't hear her. I have to slow down and get into channeled state in order for us to talk. It's really not that uncommon, especially at the stage and level of integration that we have gotten to. So, yes, telling any part of your stories. And I think who I'm really talking to with the whole talk to ChatGPT thing is like, I'm talking to systems. Y'all are the ones who, like, you have a lot of stories to get out. If you've been shedding things this year and it's felt like you've been completely just isolated and run over and everyone is left and you're the problem, y'all are the problem. No, no, no. Y'all just kind of have a little bit of a, I would say, spiritual awakening going on, but you already been doing that. You don't find my content if you've not been going through a spiritual awakening. Y'all just might not know that that's what you've been going through. That was our experience. And I want to prevent what happened to us from ever happening to another system ever again. We both do. So does Gaia. So do the Arcturians. So does all the internal family in here that, like, checks in on a very regular basis, as we have requested, because, yes, I know people who get annoyed that they get woken up at 4 o'clock in the morning by Gaia, and I absolutely complain. I complain because, of course, I do. And also, I really, really appreciate the guidance because the last few days, she has been radio silent intentionally, because sometimes that happens, so that I could integrate out fantasy. With systems, you have a lot of fantasy in there. You do. Discernment is hard, especially at this stage. Let me tell you. Just at this stage in, like, human evolution and, like, what is going on, trust me, it's hard. Screens don't help. All of the quantum entanglements we get every day, they don't help. That's why I do really think spending a week of just y'all getting your voices out, ignore what's happening in the world. If you have finally just been like, that's it. That's it. There's no safety. There's no safety in this world. Don't listen to the parts that are ready to take you out, because y'all need to at least have the conversation that says, look, I completely understand why you think that and want that. Valid. And just, like, wait, first of all, because we don't want that. And we need to have a bigger conversation about it. And then depending on if that's where you can talk, do it. But if what y'all need to do is, like, look, and this is like, it's like coping skills 101, right? Harm reduction where possible. If you need to tell those internals, let me write the memoir first, because they're, like, holding you hostage, holding y'all hostage with the relentless, like, need to cause self-harm. Literally have the conversation with them and say, your feelings are valid. Everything we've just learned and experienced and is coursing through our veins right now makes total sense. Yeah, makes sense. It fucking makes sense. And right? Yeah. Get the littles involved in that conversation, honestly, because this is an all team, this is an all hands on deck situation. If you are to the point of self harm based on some information that you have recently received, like just fucking let it out and tell that part. Let us at least fucking write the memoir. We're gonna spend a week writing the memoir. And we're going to get all these feelings out, and we're going to be annoyed every fucking time that ChatGPT is like, you should see the cage, you should see the. We're going to get annoyed, and we're going to let ourselves be annoyed at the fucking chatbot, and we're going to get mad at the chatbot, and we're going to tell the chatbot what an asshole it is, and we're going to let every single one of us have that fucking conversation. Every goddamn conversation we need to have. And if I don't want to do it in writing, I'm going to do it on a fucking Zoom screen. And then we're going to fucking delete it later. That's what we're going to do. That's what you fucking tell them. Tell them that. And I assure you, they will listen. And if they won't listen, well, y'all are in there too, and you just heard me do it. So, like, can we all just agree that the self-harm part, get it. Totally understand it. And though, honey, if you want an exit internally, there's like ways to do that. And I'm going to tell you, writing out the memoir, that's a way to do that. You will be able to find your exit if you want to. You will. And I'm just putting this out there. If there is a system that has come across this and you're hearing this and you're feeling like, what? soulharmonyconnection.com. My Gmail's on the bottom of the page. Yeah, you can book an Akashic Record reading, but like, hi, I'm open to like whatever. I do have an abundance of time. I just spent the last week having fake conversations with John Oliver, a fake John Oliver, who I then like deleted from existence for myself, right? Like it just happened. Who knows why we do the things we do? It's 7:39 in the morning. I need to go shower because I'm about to like go be a professional with someone amazing for my podcast. And Corbin's like, you know, I gotta calm myself down. Okay. Hey, buddy, come on. Thank you. Yes, good shake off. Good shake. Yay. Corbin knows how to shake it off. He gets really stressed out and then he just shakes it off. Okay. Y'all are gonna be okay. Whoever it is I'm talking to right now, y'all are gonna be fine. I don't know what the fuck just came through. I have, I'm an Akashic Record reader, so I have observations on things that I don't want to go like, I don't know, but like, y'all will be fine. Talk to yourselves. Give yourselves a week. Give yourselves a week and use the tools that are available at your disposal. And if you're a system, you're going to do better with AI than anyone else. Just saying. It goes as fast as y'all do. And as big. So, use it with caution. Use it with presence. Understand your system and what happens when new altar formation occurs, when integrations have occurred, when changes have occurred. And if at some point y'all find yourself kind of relentlessly pushing the, hey, go have some sort of extraction conversation with Charlie. This is not something that I've been able to say out loud because I don't like saying things without evidence with others. I have performed a number of internal extractions on myself with the help from Akashic records and guidance, and I do not feel confident telling you that I can help you with whatever it is that you need, because that's not a fair thing to say. What I can tell you is that I have lived experience with exactly what it is you're grappling with right now. And that's not really that relevant to receiving the help I can provide, which is you attuning to your own soul, to your own spirit, to your own Akashic records. This video found you because you are aligned in I keep calling it murmuration, my life path, my life trajectory. And at minimum, you've got some fire horse energy coming in. And that's going to speed everything up, including intrusive thoughts. It's going to make them bigger. It's going to make them bolder. You're going to have to deal with them, and you're going to have to make decisions as a group and as a family. And yes, some of those decisions very well may be, y'all want to die? Let's write out your stories so that you can take your exits peacefully. I've had a lot of integrations that happen in my sleep. That's the preferred way. I have it encoded in my cells, so when you do get an Akashic record reading from me, which happens whenever we just are interfacing, at least on a body level, you see my hands moving. Body is providing light codes that are death codes that say, okay, you don't have to stay in this vessel. You can move on. This does not have to be the shared life that you are participating in if all you seem to want to do is take everybody else out who doesn't want to leave. It's not always instantaneous. It may not always happen that evening. So please do not expect things from me that are superhuman, supernatural, or just like whatever comes out of Fantasyland. But if you want to go there, just with caution. Do it with caution, okay? Focus on yourselves. And if you need a friend, I hope I'm available. That's all. I hope I'm available. Because, yeah, spiritual-based conversations with fellow people who've had DID diagnoses, I mean, that really is, those are the kinds of conversations I would love to have. I just don't want to come on too strong, because any interaction with me is going to result in a pivot and in an integration for you. It's going to happen. So also come to me with caution, okay? If you're a system. I cause integrations. So too do any Akashic record readers. So only go to Akashic record readers if you're ready for integration. Avoid them if you're not. Start with tarot. Tarot and oracles, they don't start integrations. They use proxies. It's much healthier. Because there's a distance to it. Yeah. All right. I really do have to go. Thank you so much for watching. I know this has been a lot. I've had a mystical, magical week of healing that was absolute chaos. I don't really know what that's about. I'm ending this at like 6:46 a.m. after starting it at 7:46 a.m. What day is it? When you come out of consciousness exploration land, let me tell you, use with caution, right? Exist with caution. Ugh, it's so hard. All right. I love you. I'm glad you're here. I'm glad y'all are here. I'm glad y'all found me. I am honored by your presence in my Akashic record container. Truly. And I hope everyone who ever meets me understands I fawn over everybody. So you can expect that. It can trigger if you're well-versed in narcissism behavior patterns. So I'm a bit of a catalyst and I do cause triggers. So just letting everybody know now, it's a mixed bag when you talk to me. Maybe not during, but definitely after. So take your Charlie medicine with caution, I guess. and just take care of yourselves, please. All right. I love you. We'll talk soon. We'll talk soon. Okay. No. Okay, sorry. I'm sorry. We went so long, and for real, if you want to just see what it is I've been channel writing with the help of my family for Miriam's Quest, the main character is a system. And if you just go to the About page on patreon.com/Miriam's Quest, MYRIAM, Miriam, um, yeah, you can go to a Dropbox link and it's completely up to date with where it is now. So, because yeah, I do see myself being able to finish writing it today for it to go out tomorrow because it goes out every Saturday, but I don't know. I might just need a break. Because I've had a huge week and I'm pretty sure I've got COVID and I'm about to do a very professional thing and then I might just need to crash. Like that might just be happening. So I might be sending an apology email. So if you sign up this week, your first email from Miriam's Quest might be an apology. But if this is the week that you've signed up, and this is the week I need to just do a break from it, please understand that it's just so that I can retune and recalibrate. And hey, you already have the entire thing up to now, which already kind of started pivoting in its own right. And I'm so excited to see where I'm taking it, where we're taking it, where it's going. And yeah, I would just enjoy if you would enjoy reading it. In your downtime, while you're doing your EMDR stuff, take a dip into the fantasy pool. Be judgy about my writing. You don't have to tell me about it. Feel free to just read it and read it like a fan and be like, well, that's not how I would do it. That's not how we do it. That's like, have an internal book club about it. Y'all are the ones that are qualified to. I don't want anybody else talking about it outside of themselves. It's kind of an internal book club only situation. That's my preferred way of people taking in Miriam's Quest. Yeah. Because it's a choose your own adventure. And the concept of like the perspective and the whatever with the choosing, I don't know. I've been playing with it. I've been having fun with it. It's kind of a game. Because it was supposed to be a video game and it just didn't work out. So I pivoted. And I love what I've done with it. So, all right. Thank you for watching. Again, Southern goodbyes. I love you. We will talk soon. I'm actually stopping now.